What is up, everyone? I am Trey Baird. Let's walk and talk. I am telling you, it is July here in Metro East St. Louis, and summer is in full effect. I'm sweating bullets as we speak. Of course, if you know anything about weather in the Midwest, you know that it's really a crapshoot as to what you're going to get. I mean, like this year, we had an unbearably hot spring and a fairly mild summer. Like the two seasons were flip-flopped. This type of thing is not uncommon. I remember a few years ago we actually had a white Thanksgiving where it snowed, and we had a fairly green Christmas where it didn't snow. Once again, not uncommon. This is one of the primary reasons, along with the high pollen count, that so many people in the Midwest end up getting sick a lot, including yours truly. I don't get sick that often, but I almost always get sick whenever the weather changes. Whether it's from hot to cold or cold to hot, I'm usually the one who gets sick, and I usually get sick before everyone else. In other words, when there's a zombie apocalypse, I will most likely be patient zero, the person who gets infected first and infects everyone else. This, unfortunately, is my burden to bear. It's something that I either need to make peace with or learn to overcome. Hey, we all have our baggage. Unfortunately, some of us have more baggage than others. That's just part of life. Some of us are easygoing, others are less so. I love that sign. Little things like that give people's homes a lot of character. As far as baggage goes, it's like I said, some of us just have a lot of it to deal with. Some of us are, a good word for it is neediness. We need things from other people. Most of the times, these needy people, what they need are emotional validation. They need somebody to be there to tell them that it's okay for them to act or behave or think the way that they do. You can probably blame biology for this. After all, people are herd animals. We do tend to behave like those around us. We do seek validation from others, and we all do it. We just all do it in different ways. And some of us do it more than others. Whoa. Right now what I need is someone to cut these tree limbs. One way to look at it is that we all have two versions of ourselves. The true version, the version that comes out whenever we let our guard down, and the idealized version. The version of ourselves, the person that we want to be, the person that fakes it until we make it. The person that just has a lot fewer flaws than what they want to admit. Now, out in the real world, 99 times out of 100, you're going to meet the idealized version of people. They're going to put their best foot forward and show you their best version. Which is why, if you really want to see people's true colors, observe their behavior on the internet, specifically social media like Facebook or Twitter. That's when most people let their guard down and show you what they're really like on the inside. And now, admittedly, it's not going to always be in a straightforward manner that these people show their true colors. It's going to be more in a laid-back way, in a more letting their defenses down kind of way. That's when people's neediness, their narcissism, their hatefulness, that's when it comes out for the whole world to see. I always say life begins right outside of your comfort zone, and the converse is also true. Life tends to break down when you're within your comfort zone, such as when you're on social media. Then again, I am currently reaching out to you, the viewer, as we speak through the power of social media. So it makes me question whether or not I'm showing you my true self or not. Those who know me might say no, but then again, those who know me, do they really know me as well as they think they do? I like to think of my true self as the repressed form of myself. I believe that my true self has been repressed for many years, and my current major goal in life is to find that true version of myself again. It's been buried under several layers of depression, low self-esteem, misdiagnoses, and other unlikable bullshit such as that. I actually disappeared from social media for a few years on purpose, notably Facebook, I just completely dropped off the face of the planet for a long time in today's culture. It was something like, 4 years or so, 4.5 to be more precise. There was just a lot of things on Facebook especially that would just bother me when I read them. They would provoke a negative emotional reaction on my part, and it got to be unbearable. I couldn't stand it anymore. At the time I thought that Facebook attracted just the lowest tier of human being, and I don't mean that in like a superiority way, I just mean low-level thinking. People attracting so much negativity to themselves and then being oblivious to the fact that they brought this upon themselves. To put it simply, most people would agree with the idea of what goes around comes around. But when you put so much negativity out into the universe and then you get that same level of negativity back, the average person does not take responsibility for that. They defer the responsibility and they continue to perpetuate the negativity cycle, the negative energy that constantly seems to surround them. Now, at the time, I really didn't want this type of energy in my life at all. And in hindsight, it was probably the right decision, because since then I've learned that I really need to stop looking at things from an external point of view, because for my purposes at least, the entirety of existence resides completely within my awareness. Like a lot of people in the self-improvement niche, whatever you want to say, they like to do a thought experiment where they try to prove that existence itself is not merely a simulation, a la the Matrix. Nothing is real, this is all a projection from our mind. And if you really sit down and think about it, it's kind of hard to prove that theory wrong, that any of this is real. Like right now, am I really on a road that is parallel to a gorgeous lake? Or is this just a simulation from within my brain? Now, for my purposes, I don't really want to go that deep into the rabbit hole. What I believe and what I don't believe isn't really relevant to what we're discussing at the moment. But here's what I do believe, that whatever I'm aware of at the moment, whether it be beautiful nature, positive, loving vibes, or mean, nasty, angry vibes, whether my conscience is triggered by, whatever is on the news at the moment, or whether I'm feeling inspired by beautiful things, artistic things, everything right now in my awareness is 100% my responsibility. If I don't like whatever is within my awareness, it is my responsibility to deal with it. For example, at the moment, I am enjoying a beautiful summer day in the Midwest. I mean, look at all of this. It's gorgeous. And I take responsibility for the choices that have led me to this walk today. The fact that I decided today to get on my feet, get dressed, and get out the door, that's a choice that I made that I'm responsible for. As well as the choice to walk more regularly, to do a video blog about walking regularly, to be able to enjoy the type of more active lifestyle that affords me such luxuries. In short, our entire lives, everything in our existence, is a direct result of the choices that we make. Life is cause and effect. And the choices that the people who live on this beautiful block, who are able to enjoy such nice, serene surroundings, their homes are a direct result of the choices that they made, for better or for worse. Of course, in this case, I would say that the choices they made were for the better. Back to social media though, as I said, people will usually let their true colors shine on there because it's their comfort zone. Narcissism has become the new normal in today's culture, and there's nothing more narcissistic than social media. It's a one-man show that you are broadcasting to the entire world, and some people will observe and then others will not. I just wanted to get a shot of myself in front of this beautiful fountain right here. I love this thing. And like that, we are turning around and heading back. But, I've already gotten the steps that I need to get for today, or at least I will after I made it back home. I observed the data from when I started walking, really getting back into the swing of things, and believe me, it took a while. To be precise, it took me about 2 years to get back into the swing of a more healthy lifestyle, where I was walking more regularly. Full disclaimer though, I tend to implement new lifestyle changes in the background. I do it through my subconscious. Your results will most likely be a lot quicker because most people tackle new goals head on. I try to just put them on in the background. In the last 2 years, essentially, I have doubled the amount of steps I get per week, because that's my metric. I measure per week as opposed to per day. And I've lost somewhere in the neighborhood of 50 pounds. I'm just going to round up and call it 50 for 2 reasons: simplicity and for the ego boost. What I'm saying is that in my case, I try to get on social media, and for the most part, I try to post positive things, inspirational things. Even if they are narcissistic and self-centered in nature, I try to keep it positive for the most part. It's probably why it bothers me so much whenever I see people broadcast their lousy days, or use Facebook to complain about their spouse, or for e-thugging, or fill in the blank. All the negative stuff that gets posted online. Seeing as how my policy about social media used to be that everyone is welcome. If you have access to the internet, I want to network with you. And, I don't know whatever possessed me to have that policy, but that was certainly my policy in the past. And likewise, I had to process a lot of negative stuff that would come across my feed. A lot of stuff that would provoke emotional reactions on my part, negative emotional reactions. Finally, there were several reasons why I decided to return to Facebook. But the main reason was I was really doing myself and others a disservice by checking out completely out of social media instead of using it on my terms. My terms are as follows. I am very picky about who I network with on Facebook. For the most part, I want to know you in real life first. But even if I already know you, that's not an instant pass. I gotta know you and I gotta like you. That doesn't mean that, only people who are just like me can be there, but, there's a certain amount of respect and dignity that I expect that I hold, other people to such a high standard. For example, we're halfway through 2017 right now, and politics is still a hot issue. And that's been the primary reason I've deleted a lot of people from social media this year, on both sides of the political spectrum. The left says the right is hateful, the right says the left is hateful. I see it from both sides equally. And yeah, both sides make semi-decent, valid points. I'm just so over politics. Life is too short for that. Yeah, have a stance. Ooh, pretty geese. Sorry, ADD. Anyway, have a political stance, believe in things, vote for politicians that best represent your values, but, don't let it control your life. There's absolutely no reason why people on both sides of the political spectrum can't coexist and even be friends, dare I say. More of the lake, I love that. But it just doesn't happen that much, especially after this last election. When you think about it though, the last century, the latter part of the 20th century was a very revolutionary era. We were fighting all kinds of oppression, racial, sexual discrimination, sexuality discrimination, all sorts of things. Marijuana legalization, fill in the blank. It was a time for change. So of course, growing up in a culture such as that, a paradigm such as that, we want to keep trying to change things. We want things to continue to be revolutionary. From where I sit, the world isn't perfect, but it's pretty dang good at this point. Like, for example, 2 years ago, the Supreme Court decided that, same-sex marriage was legal, that it was not something that could be discriminated against. And like, for example, the LGBT community, I remember they celebrated that for about a weekend, and then they got right back onto the next subject. Of course, it's a very diverse group, but generally the subject nowadays is, gender, non-binary versus binary, there's more than two genders, all of that stuff. Look, I am 100% for the right of consenting adults to do whatever they want with their genitals to other consenting adults. Period, with no exceptions. I'm also in favor of two consenting adults to be able to get married and have the same benefits of any other two consenting adults, regardless of gender or sexuality. And I'm also in favor of a consenting adult to get a gender reassignment procedure done if they are not the person that they feel they should be. In my humble but accurate opinion, this makes me a pretty progressive person in today's day and age. It could just be because I was raised in a fairly conservative area, but just being pro-gay rights is pretty progressive in my opinion. But the tide has changed so much just in the last few years. You have to constantly get on the next bandwagon or you're backwards. I mean, I'm probably going to catch fire just for saying LGBT instead of LGBTQ or LGBTQI or whatever it is this week. They say that the Q stands for queer. So if you're queer, but you're not lesbian, bisexual, transsexual, or transsexual, or let's see, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual, yeah. You're not one of those four, but you are queer, which, I'm saying in a straightforward way, not even in a hateful way. I don't understand it. To me, that sounds like the same as having a fetish, a kink that's unnatural. So these people are part of the group too. Is there anyone who is not a part of this group? But here's the thing though, I'm not a part of this group. There's nothing wrong with being a part of this group, it's just not me. I am heterosexual, always have been, I'm sure I always will be. The point I'm trying to make though is whether it's, the LGBT community, or whether it's feminists, or whether it's someone on either side of the political spectrum, it's always something. The world has become such a dramatic place, and people are always angry, and there's always something that needs to be changed. Thus far, in this point in my life, I've always been the poster boy for baggage. I was diagnosed as bipolar when I was a young adult, and I lived with that label for a long time. Whereas right now, I've been trying to kind of get away from that label, because the more I've grown personally, the more I begin to not identify with it anymore. I do identify with the label of narcissist though. I don't believe I'm a full-blown narcissist, but I do think I have narcissistic tendencies. So I understand baggage. I understand what I'm talking about. My personal goal lately has been to live with less baggage on others, to be less of a burden on others, and to live more of a life based on service to others. The irony being, of course, that the more you serve others, the more it's going to come back to you. Like I said, what goes around comes around. So my challenge to you, for example, is to think about what you're putting out there in the world. What if there's someone out there who's profoundly affected by what you're saying? They may not show it initially, they may not show their true selves, but is what you're doing, is what you're investing your energy into making the world a better place or a less better place? I mean, will the world really stop turning if you don't post that hateful political meme, for example? I mean, is there any chance that the people in your feed isn't already aware of what your beliefs are? I personally find it a little bit needy when, you know, people constantly get on social media and continually try to project their hatred onto other people. I think that's all I have to say on that subject at the moment though. So thank you for watching. And if you're feeling what I'm saying or what I'm doing or all of the above, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel. So in the meantime, I'm Trey Bear, and I'll catch you later.